To the Kahal HaKadosh. Thank you very much for having me. I come all the way from Forest Hills to Jamaica State to Kodesh. Bezrat Hashem to share some Torah, to really get into the depth of what we're doing here. What in general Sukkot is about, what more specifically Hoshana Raba is about. And Bezrat Hashem will even touch some of Simchat Torah. You know, every year I have a practice, and it's as follows. You always want to make sure in your Avodat Hashem, you're not letting it be a spectator sport. You're not just on the sidelines watching, with your hands on. You're really delving deep in your own Avodah. Now there are many ways to do that. Many ways to make it real. To continue the growth from year after year, and not just remain on autopilot. One of the ways that I take upon myself, that I think is very helpful, I think it's very kedai. Every single Chag, whether it's Pesach, Shavuot, Sukkot, anything in between, think about a couple of baseline questions, fundamental questions, yesodot, that don't quite sit right with you. They make sense, 100%, but you don't have the depth yet. You write it down. So, Sukkot, Tafshin, Pei Daled, these were your questions. These were the things you needed a tzarich iyun. You wanted to go deeper on. Comes the next Sukkot, Tafshin Pei Hey, you have some homework. Open the Sfarim. See what the rabbis say. There's endless depth. But the question is, are you going to search to find it? Torah Hashem, it's vast. The question is our courage going to match that? So, tell you some of my baseline questions that I had last year, some of the answers that I come with this year, and b'siyata d'shmaya, I believe it all really comes together quite nicely. So again, now 7 Tzliach, Bezrat Hashem. You start generally. The question of the tour. It's a very fundamental question. When it comes to Sukkot, we know we're commemorating one of two things. What does the Gemara say? Yud Aleph Amud Aleph, Mesechet Sukkah. Beautiful. There are two things we're commemorating. Zman Simchatenu commemorates either Sukkot Mamash. Rabbi Akiva says it's either the actual huts that we were sitting in the Midbar, or there's a machloket. Maybe it's Ananei HaKavod. Maybe it is the clouds of glory that surrounded us miraculously throughout our stay in the desert. Now the halakha seems it's Ananei HaKavod that we're commemorating. And the question is as follows. It's simple, but yet profound. If we're celebrating the Ananei HaKavod, we're commemorating these beautiful, miraculous, and wonderful clouds. Why are we doing it in Tishrei? Tishrei is not the correct month to be commemorating them. When did Hashem give us this cloud? Nisan. When we left Mitzrayim. The fact that we celebrate the clouds that we received in Nisan in Tishrei does not make so much sense. What's the depth? What's the answer? Why on the 15th of Tishrei do we all have a mitzvah aseh deoraita to sit in the sukkah?
You want to make it pleasant.
Want to make it pleasant. Wouldn't Nisan be a nicer time? Maybe Nisan is the springtime. So says the Torah, similar to what you're saying. The Torah answers, if we would be sitting in Nisan, it would be the right time. But you know what people would say? They're going to their summer home. Some guy goes to the Hamptons. The Jewish people, they go to their sukkah. They go to the gazebo in the backyard. We don't want it to look like that. We want it to be clear and outright to everybody. We're doing this l'shem mitzvah, for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right. Tell you another answer. More profound answer. The Vilna Gaon says as follows. He says, I'll tell you exactly why we're celebrating, not just in the month of Tishrei, but on the 15th day of Tishrei. It's a very precise answer. He says as follows. He makes a whole calculation. He says, we are not commemorating the clouds that we received when we left Mitzrayim. If that was the case, we would be celebrating in Nisan. We would be having matzah in the sukkah on Pesach. So why do we celebrate in Tishrei? It's not the original clouds, not the original Ananei HaKavod. But rather, it was the Ananei HaKavod that disappeared. They came back to us in Tishrei. Ananei HaKavod disappeared, and they came back. What's the story? It says like this. He says, think back to Chet HaEgel. to the sin of the golden calf.
Yes, atonement.
Beautiful. The sin of the golden calf was an ultimate humiliation. Doing Avodah Zarah while being in Hashem's arms, while living that miraculous life in the desert. Hashem says, an angel is going to take you guys, you're going to follow the angel, and my Shekhinah is going to depart. You're on your own. Says the Vilna Gaon, after Chet HaEgel, the clouds departed. They left, poof, disappeared. Hashem went upstairs, Kivyachol, separated. Says the Vilna Gaon, when did we receive kapara? When did we receive atonement for the Chet HaEgel? On the beautiful day of Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur, the 10th day of Tishrei, Yud Tishrei, Moshe Rabbeinu comes down and he got the famous words of Salachti Kidvarecha. Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I forgive you. It's all good. But there was still more to do. It says the Vilna Gaon like this. So when did Moshe come down? On the 10th day of Tishrei. He got forgiveness. On the 11th day of Tishrei, there was a mitzvah. Ve'asuli mikdash ve'shachanti betocham. Moshe Rabbeinu got the directive from Hashem to make a mikdash for him. You want me to come back down? Build for me a house. Let me see some effort from your end. Initiate. So on the 11th day, we got the mitzvah. We got the commandment to build. Says the Vilna Gaon. He appealed to bring donations on the 12th and on the 13th day. There was so much to bring, it took 2 days, baboker, if you're medayik in the pasuk, for the people to bring all the gold, all the silver, all the copper, you name it. 12th and 13th of Tishrei, check. The 14th of Tishrei, the Gaon says that they were calculating all the materials that they now received. And finally, on the 15th day of Tishrei, they started construction. They began building the Mishkan for Hashem to come back. Hashem says, you initiated the building, you started construction. Amen. Comes the Shekhinah, comes the clouds of glory, the Anei Kavod, and they reappear. Incredible. We don't just sit in a hut on the 15th day of Tishrei for no reason. It was on this day, Dafka, it was on Sukkot, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, I was out, but now I'm back in. You initiated, you took a step towards me, I'm coming back towards you. The Vilna Gaon says the Simcha of Sukkot is the Simcha of our Teshuvah being accepted. But it's not a Teshuvah of Bir'ah like Yom Kippur. It's different. It's a Teshuvah me'ahava, where the love is rekindled and the fire is back. Incredible. There was another question I had. It goes like this. And Sukkah, in the second Sukkah, Daf Nun Aleph, Amud Aleph, it says over there, whoever didn't see a certain celebration called Simchat Bet HaSho'eva. If you didn't see the celebration, how joyous it was, you did not see Simcha in your entire life. The ceremony of Simchat Bet HaSho'eva was such a spectacle. You didn't see Simcha in your life if you missed out on this. What's pshat? What happened over there? Basically, they would pour water as a libation on the Mizbeach. The water would evaporate, and there would be a whole simcha. That's why you see a lot of times right now, that you'll see a lot of Hasidim dancing, you'll see a lot of beautiful, joyous, smachot, occasions happening right now to commemorate Simchat Bet HaSho'eva. What's the depth of it? What is beneath the surface? Rav Hutner tells us as follows. Yitzhak Hutner tells us. Let's go back to the second day of creation. What happened on the second day of creation? Yom HaSheni. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was Mavdil ben Rakia l'Rakia. Hashem made a firmament. He made a separation between two things. The Maim HaElyonim and the Maim HaTachtonim. Between the upper waters and the lower waters. Now Chazal tell us that the lower waters, they had a ta'ana on Hashem. They had a claim. They said, Hashem, Baruch Hu, we were once all together. We were united by you. Now that you've separated us, there's the Shamayim, and then there's the water that's on the Aretz. The Mayim HaTachtonim, the lower waters, say, you distance yourself from us. We're rachok now. We used to be karov, we used to be close, and Now we're far. Now there's a distance, there's a pirut after the second day of creation. They had a Tana and Hashem. And Hashem responded as follows. Hashem said, don't worry, I'll appease you. He said, on Sukkot, there will be a special ceremony. There will be a time called Nisuch HaMayim, when the earthly waters from down here, will be poured onto the Mizbeach.
It's like connected.
And it's going to reunite back to Hashem. You'll reunite with me on Simchat Bet HaShoeva. You're going to pour the water on the Mizbeach. It's going to evaporate. The Mayim HaTachtonim will be reunited with Hashem and the Mayim Elyonim. This ceremony was a testament to the fact that the distance that once was no longer is. That a rachok, somebody who used to be far, is now a karov. Klal Yisrael saw this, and they saw the message. On Sukkot, it does not matter the distance one perceives. On Sukkot is a time where a rachok becomes a karov. Where there was distance, now there is a reunited body. And that's why it was an incredible joy, simcha. It's now within arm's reach. Me'ahava. And there's this realization that Nisuch HaMayim was such a large celebration. It really goes in line with the theme of Sukkot. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that the Sukkah has to be a minimum of three walls. What if it's 2 full walls and a right angle? 2 full walls and a little tefach like that.
Counts, yes.
Counts. Says the Arizal, it counts because on a very deep level, beautiful. It looks as if HaKadosh Baruch Hu is embracing us with his loving arms. There's 1 wall, 2 wall, and then there's a little right angle. There's the palm that's holding you in. The entire lesson of Sukkot is that no matter the distance that we perceive, it all changes. The Ananim came back on this holiday. Nisuch HaMayim, the Mayim Elyonim, or Mayim Tachtonim, went back to Elyon, went back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, again on this holiday. Now, I had a third question. It also goes very well in line with this. You know, there's a big culture to buy a mehudat etrog, no matter the price. Say 500, I know someone who paid 6. You say 6, I'm telling you someone paid 1,000. And beautiful, shrecha. It's amazing. Hidur mitzvah, unbelievable. The question is why? Why for the etrog are we looking so meticulously for not a nick, not a scratch, not any sort of pisul? We don't see that by any other chatzah shel mitzvah. That we're so midayek, and we're so ready to buy the most mihudar of the mihudar. Why is that rog at the center of it all? What's so special? What's deep about that rog itself? Now it's quite striking. You'll see all over Chazal, when we go back to the sin of the Eitz Hadat, Adam and Chava bringing mitah to the world, bringing death to the world. There are many opinions in Chazal. What exactly was the fruit? What exactly was the quote-unquote forbidden fruit that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says don't eat from this tree? What was the tree? Beautiful, we'll get there. It's like Gemara in Berachot, around Daf Mem, Aleph maybe. It says over there a few answers. It could have been a fig tree, that's why they covered themselves with fig leaf. Could have been wheat, actually, which is very interesting. You'll see also in the Bereshit Rabbah. Bereshit Rabbah brings an account that the fruit was none other than an etrog, a citron. The fruit that you and I go out to pay so much money for, to get such a mehudah status. That was the fruit that brought mitah to the world. Now the question is, if that etrog had such a sensitive past, why is it the focal point of our holiday? Why is it so central to the Chag HaSukkot? And it goes like this. And also there's a proof that it was that etrog, because the pasuk says, "Vaterei ha'isha ki tov ha'etz lema'achal." The pasuk Bereshit tells us that Chava was enticed because the tree looked good to eat. And we know the one fruit that the tree is similar tasting to the fruit itself is the etrog. That's the proof that it's the etrog. Now, why is the source of death and negativity seemingly the focal point of Sukkot? Furthermore, there's a second question. We have a din, we have a cloud. It goes like this. En kategor na'aseh sanegor. Something that has a negative connotation that could be used as a prosecuting item will not be now your defense attorney. Something like the etrog, which reminds Hashem of the Etz Hadat. Why are we bringing it in to such a holy Chag? I think the answer is like this: that Sukkot, like we've been saying, is a time of teshuvah me'ahava. It's a time of returning to Hashem, not out of fear, not out of Yom Hadin. It's a time of returning to Hashem out of love. Now, there is a caveat when it comes to teshuvah me'ahava, and it's not true when it comes to teshuvah me'irah. Says Reish Lakish that somebody who returns to Hashem out of ahava, out of love, zidonot, that means intentional sins against Hashem, na'aseh kizchuyot, turn into mitzvot. Teshuvah me'ahava is not a dry cleaning service. That's teshuvah me'irah. That's coming back to Hashem out of fear. Fear is gonna take away your health, take away your parnasah, take away, you name it. Coming back to Hashem out of love is not a dry cleaning service. Wow. It takes those averot that was mamash intentional, and he makes them into mitzvot. The Chatam Sofer says so far to say that if someone is taref, that turns into
mitzvot.
Not just a ma'achal mitzvah, turns into the korban pesach that was eaten in the times of the Mikdash. Incredible. So now we have an answer. We have an answer. When it comes to Sukkot, the ultimate time of ahava, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is hugging us and He's surrounding us in every which way possible, the etrog, the ultimate sin in history, which brought mitan to the world, there is no better time right now than to make it the focal point of our holiday, the focal point of our teshuvah me'ahava, and uplift such a negative past, to untap such a negative potential. Perhaps that's why we're meticulous, so meticulous, to get the most mehudar etrog. Get the etrog that Chava looked like and said, wow, we need to eat from that. The most beautiful one, resemble the one that was there in the Etz Hadat. Because right now is the time of Teshuvah me'ahava. And somebody who believes in the power of Teshuvah knows that zidonot na'aseh kischuyot. Incredible. Incredible. So one more ra'aya that it indeed was the etrog. If you take Etz Hadat, the gematria of Etz Hadat is 639. Etz Hadat, you can do the math at home, 639. And if you take away, we know that it was the Etz Hadat's Tov V'Ra. If you take away the bed, and we're just untapping the Tov during Sukkot, if you take away the Ra, gematria Ra is, Reish is 200, Ayin is 70, good, 270, thank you. 639 minus 270, we're taking out the Ra. What does that leave us with? Any accountants here? Probably not.
6:13.
Close?
3:30 a.m.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you so much. I'll give you the answer. 369. 369 is the number you're going to be left with. 369 is the gematria Etz Hadar. You can also do the math at home. Etz Hadar is the gematria of Etz Hadat. Take away the Ra, 270. You're left with 369, which is Etz Hadar. Exactly what's the focal point of Chag Sukkot.
What's the gematria?
369. Etz Hadar. That's a reference to the Etrog.
Oh wow.
So think about this. Think about this. The final and most powerful day to make such a tikkun is today. Is Hoshana Raba. Who's the Ushpizin tonight? Who's our lovely guest?
David.
Beautiful. For Zocheh, it's going to be David HaMelech. For Zocheh. Why David? Well, it makes sense. Why David tonight? Why David today? Adam, we know, famously gave 70 years of his life to David. I like how this all comes together. Thus, it's no coincidence that the sin to uplift Adam is dafka, most powerful, most potent. To come to Hashem, mitzvah me'ahava is most potent. Tonight, the night of David HaMelech, who had 70 years of Adam HaRishon. And perhaps that's why we don't even sleep on Hoshana Raba. It's to fix the sin which initiated Adam to eat it. We know while Adam was sleeping on Erev Shabbat, that's when Chava had the ta'ava, when Adam was sleeping. So therefore, tonight perhaps that's why we even don't sleep, to rectify this Avirah. Incredible. And that's why we know the Gemara in Brachot says, did David HaMelech sleep? He didn't sleep like a normal person. Beautiful. he slept like a sus. He was nirdam, I think the word is. He would doze off and wake back up. He wouldn't sleep. Nirdam, thank you. He wouldn't sleep full force. He would doze off and then wake back up. Again, the connection goes back to Adam Rishon and part of his sin being the sleep. So again, tonight is the Teshuvah experience, the pinnacle of the Teshuvah experience. Nehava this time. Chas v'shalom to let it slip away. And we could be listening and thinking about such deep things. And say, who am I? I'm just an average Joe. I come to Sukkot, I shake a little bit. I come to Hoshana Raba, I don't sleep a little bit. At the end of the day, who am I to make such a change? To, go so big. I'm not without Hashem. I think that's why Dafka, the Arava, is also the pinnacle focus of tonight or tomorrow morning more accurately. We know that the 4 species represent the 4 different types of Jews. The Arava specifically, which is the one that we're going to hit in the morning. The Arava represents the Jew with no Torah and no Masim Tovim. The Arava has neither smell nor does it have a taste. And why the Arava tonight? It's to show you, it's to tell us. If you think you're not zocher to go so big, teshuvah me'ahava, zichuyot, think again. The Arava might not have a taste or a smell, might not have Torah or Masim Tovim, but it does have the shape of the lips. We know that the lulav is the spine, etrog is the heart, the hadassim are the eyes, right? 1, 2, 3. And lastly, we have the aravot, which are the 2 lips, the top and bottom lip. As long as you have the koach tefillah, the koach of David HaMelech, the crowd to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, on a day like today, you can do it. The arava is the focal point of the teshuvah experience. If you think you don't have the zichuyot or the Torah, you have your lips, you can pray, you're not exempt. Teshuvah me'ahava is also right for you. Last, I'd like to explore the depth behind Hakafot. Simchat Torah, it's a very busy holiday. And sometimes we're busy going through the motions, we forget to understand what we're actually doing. But Hashem also this Simchat Torah, unlike last year, we should be busy only hearing Besorot Tovot and not the opposite. The Talmud Yerushalmi tells us the secret of Hakafot, of going around the Sefer Torah. Yerushalmi says very cryptically, the secret of Hakafot is the secret, the sod of Yericho. Yericho. Now what happened in Yericho? What's the secret of Yericho? And let's tie it back to Hakafot. We know famously, Tanakh tells us, that when Yoshua laid siege around Yericho, the Jewish people did something very interesting. They didn't just go in, they didn't, starve them. No. They went like this. The siege happened like this. For every day, 1 time a week, they would encircle Yericho. They would circle around the walled city. Then, on Shabbat, they made 7 circles around Yericho. And those 7 circles resulted in the walls coming down. Incredible. That's Yericho. Comes the Hakafot. On Simchat Torah, comes the Yerushalmi, he says, that's exactly what happens when we're encircling the Torah. Symbolically, our motion of Hakafot, just like in Yericho, obliterates all the walls that once were between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Imagine that. Encircling the walls of Yericho, the walls are no more. Destroyed. Done. Demolition. Same exact thing during Hakafot. There could be mechitzot between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, real or perceived. When we do the Hakafot, we're showing, just like the walls came down when we circled Yericho, same thing happens over here. All the mechitzot between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and us also come going down. The culmination of tonight is getting rid of those mechitzot and diving into complete immersion of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, what's the significance of a circle, you might ask? I think there are 2 answers. Famously, by the way, we read in Tehillim, we really read in Pesukei Zimra, 149, right? David HaMelech tells us as directed, Yehalelu Shemo B'machol. We have to serve Hashem. What's a machol? Machol means a circle dance. You have to serve Hashem as if you're circularly dancing. How do you fulfill that directive? What's the depth and the significance of a circle? It goes like this. The properties of a circle are such that, if you imagine one, each point along the circle is equidistant, has an equal radius to the point in the middle. The message being that in our service to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it has to be so close. You have to have such divekut that it doesn't matter if you're in the four walls of the Beit Midrash, or if you're in work, or anywhere in between, or you find yourself anywhere on Abat Kanvot Haaretz. Your distance to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, your closeness to Him, has to be the exact same. Your feeling that Hashem is in front of me right now should be the same. The goal is to be the same when you get out of here as well. The depth of serving Hashem b'machol in a circular dance, like David HaMelech tells us, is that your devekut to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so awesome that there is no separation, no matter how spiritual or physical your pursuits seem. That's the goal. And that actually explains the Gemara in Ta'anit, the last page. It says over there, Chav Daled. It says, what is Olam Haba? It goes as follows. Atid HaKadosh Baruch Hu la'asot machol l'tzadikim. In the future, Hashem is going to make a circle of the righteous people. He's going to be sitting in the middle. V'hu yoshev b'nehem b'gan Eden. Hashem's going to be sitting in the middle of Gan Eden. The depth is that Olam Haba will realize that ein od milevado, Hashem was equidistant to you wherever you were in this life. It's just we didn't have the glasses to see it. So if you know that's the truth in the future, in the Gan Eden, why wait? Fight for that right now. Tishva me'ahava. If we didn't see Hashem in this place before, find Him now in work. Find Him now when you're dealing with your wife, when you're dealing with your kids, and everything. I think a second point about the circle is as follows. Where does the circle start and end? Where does the circle start and end? Good. It's a rhetorical question. There's no start and end point on the circle. At least there's no one start and end point on the circle. In fact, every single point along the mahol of the circle is a new starting point or a new ending point. It can be here, there, or anywhere along it. Showing you that when your life revolves around the Torah, we're doing those hakafot. We're showing that every single moment, every single situation of our lives is now saturated with meaning. There's no such thing anymore of getting old and getting bored and chashav shalom rotting. No such thing. When you live with the Torah, there's a hitchadshut. There's a certain rebirth, regeneration of meaning every moment of your life. What better time to find that than Sukkot, than tonight? The night when the clouds that disappeared came back. Hashem said, I'm back with you. The night where we see Teshuvah Me'ahava, we can take the etrog, something that could have been so negative, and we untap it, Teshuvah Me'ahava, to be so positive. Something that Simchat Beit HaShoeva really symbolizes. Something that used to be far. The waters that were separated are now close. They now reunite with Hashem. And again, tonight, the night of David HaMelech, to call out and say, Hashem, I want that kirva. I want to serve you in a circle where there's no such thing as distance, no matter where I am. It's the same closeness to you, everywhere. I think with that, Bezrat Hashem, we should be zocheh, to tap into all the kochot that are available on this holiday. To know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was waiting for us to return, and to return me'ahava in the greatest extent. And to know, Bezrat Hashem, that we have the kochot, we have the capability to do so. We just have to invest a little bit of effort. On the first day of construction, says Ibn Legon, when we just started building the Mikdash, Hashem said, you took one step towards me, I'm bringing my entire Shekhinah back to you. Bezrat Hashem, we should see that protection. We should see that siyata d'shmaya. Amen v'amen.
Very nice.
Stop.